This is Nasha Kasha, Ukrainian Almanac, 28 minutes of stories about Ukrainian life. Nasha Kasha comes to you from Radio Western in London, Ontario, Canada. It's heard on 13 university and community radio stations in 8 provinces from Newfoundland to British Columbia. Вітаю вас, дорогі слухачі. This is episode 151, and it was recorded in Hamilton.
Firefighters worked through the night to put out a massive blaze at the Ukrainian Cultural Center in Hamilton that destroyed the building's roof.
The story led the 6 o'clock Saturday news.
The Ukrainian community is in shock.
CHCH TV anchor Nicole Martin conveyed what members of Hamilton's Ukrainian community had been talking about all day. Late on Friday, April 12th, fire tore through the roof of the Ukrainian Youth Association's Cultural Center in East Hamilton. On Sunday, when I visited, the fire marshal was on site investigating the cause as an excavator demolished damaged sections of wall. And as the debris tumbled, pockets were discovered where the fire was still smoldering.
My name is Lance Schubert. At this point, have an excavator seeking to make the building safe in order to go in and have a look. I'm here to do an investigation into origin and cause. At this point, I'm looking at the fire patterns, determine where the fire originated. It's pretty much demolished within, and so we got to see what remains of the building.
My name is Stefa Baran. I'm the president of the Ukrainian Cultural Center here in Hamilton.
And Stefa, when did you find out about the fire?
In the middle of the night, I think it was about 1:30 a.m. when the police called me at home to tell me that there is a fire at the center. So I rushed here right away and saw the whole building engulfed in flame, and just such a tragic time.
There were many beautiful parts to it?
Oh, yes. It was a very retro building. The theater was established in 1924. We purchased the building in 1963-64. I know that the community opening of this building was 1965, and I was part of the ceremonies of the opening at the time. No, I was not born here, but I came when I was 13 years old, and I was part of the Ukrainian Youth Association that was housed first on Kensington Avenue here in Hamilton in a house, and later the community purchased this this theater, and this became our home.
You were supposed to have a spivanka here today.
Yes, we did. It's called Privatri, and we get together once a month and we sing Ukrainian songs and just enjoy each other's company.
It's a little sad that, here you were thinking of singing songs by Avatra.
Yes, exactly. And now we are crying, watching the demolition of the main hall where we spent so many great memories. My wedding was here, some of my children's wedding, and many of the post-war generation that grew up in this building. Most of the weddings were in this building. We will be in contact with the insurance companies and proceed, discuss what further actions need to be taken.
Now there's a demolition crane here. Are they going to take the whole building down or just a dangerous part of it?
Yes, the parts that for sure cannot be repaired.
Is there any part of it that can be salvaged?
At this point, I cannot comment on that. I have no idea at all. They are still afraid to even go through the door, the fire marshal, so I cannot comment.
Бажаю вам щастя і сили.
Дякую дуже щиро. Дякую цілій громаді за підтримку і співчуття, і вислови жалю, і вислови доброї волі.
Світло зникає, ніхто не заплаче, як мрії вмирають, і очі відвести ще важче, ніж губи, хоч пальцями пестить, насправді не любить. Бо все лиш вогонь, все лиш вогонь.
наших у Господа просі. Добрий, пожиточно для душ наших і миру для світу у Господа просі.
10 o'clock Mass at Holy Spirit Ukrainian Catholic Church is a 10-minute car ride away. Father Yuri Tichy is praying for the forgiveness of sins as his congregation enters the 5th week of Lent. Mass concluded, he reflects on the pioneers who built the hall, the youth who grew up there. Still, he says, it is but a material loss, and he offers his personal help and that of his parish in the aftermath of the fire.
Направду, це є досить тяжка втрата, хоч і матеріальна, але мусимо пам'ятати, що в цьому житті нічого не стається просто так, і нічого не стається без Божого допусту.
Reporting in the Hamilton Spectator, Matthew Van Dongen writes, quote, several organizations, including a credit union and the Holy Spirit Ukrainian Catholic Church, have already reached out to offer aid or a temporary home. The building was a repository of local Ukrainian history with heritage documents dating back to its purchase in the 1960s. The building was first a theater. Elements of the era remained, particularly the stage, ticket box office, and the ornate gold crown molding around the high ceilings and the performance space. You're listening to the mandolin stylings of the Ukrainians. The song is called Doroha, or The Road. Earlier in the show, you heard cantors and members of the congregation of Hamilton's Holy Spirit Ukrainian Catholic Church. The group Rozdorija, which means crossroads, sang Vohony. A Vohony is a fire. We opened with a short audio excerpt from the CHCH TV evening newscast from April 13th, 2019. Nicole Martin, Anchor.
Я пам'ятаю час, коли ми з тобою шукали місяць удвох, не тільки у снах. Лай-лай-лай-лай-лай. Коли я бачив ніч, ішов за тобою, а стіни темного міста дихали нам. Ти заспівай свою сумну мелодію, яку співала вночі. Ти заспівай, лиш заспівай свою сумну мелодію і залишайся у сні. Заспівай свою сумну мелодію, яку співала вночі. Ти заспівай, лиш заспівай свою сумну мелодію втілюся у сні. Ти заспівай свою сумну мелодію.
My name is Larissa Zarichniak. I am the president of the Ukrainian Youth Association and board member of the Ukrainian Cultural Center. I'm a Ukrainian from Poland. So we are from the Lemko region where I was born and raised in the Carpathian Mountains in Poland. So we emigrated when I was 6 years old and I went to Holy Spirit Ukrainian Catholic, and that is where my mom was introduced to SUM, and so she signed us up as a way of us simply integrating into the Ukrainian community here in Hamilton. I've always been proud to be from Hamilton. I know we have a bit of an industrial town image to us, but I've always loved the fact that we're just full of a lot of natural beauty also that a lot of people don't see.
Have you completed your studies?
I have completed my studies. I did a master's in history, Ukrainian history. Now I work at Buduchni's Credit Union, which is actually right next door to the building.
Was that harm?
No. So luckily we're fine. We're just sort of waiting for the fire marshal to finish the investigation to reopen. Mm-hmm. So the Ukrainian Cultural Center on Kenilworth Street was really for us growing up, basically the hub of the cultural life, even from childhood onward. I would spend maybe the majority of weeknights and weekends there. Like Monday night was Ukrainoznavstvo, so Ukrainian sort of like high school. All our Matura pictures were in that building. So the Matura pictures from, I think, 1967.
These are the graduation pictures.
So the graduating pictures from the Ukrainian graduating high school. So the Taras Shevchenko Ukrainian school. So all of generations of graduating pictures are in that building, and I don't know if they're okay or not. Tuesdays or Thursdays was always bandura practice. Bandura is like the national Ukrainian instrument. Every Tuesday now we have the Svitanok choir of the only all-female choir in the Golden Horseshoe area. Saturday mornings every week since literally I can remember was the Ukrainian Youth Association Schodiny, which are basically the weekly get-togethers that we would have. Arts and crafts, we would sing, history lessons. We had our own mini hall where we can do sport with the kids. We would always hold fundraisers, concerts. The nativity plays were always held in that hall. I remember playing, I think, the Virgin Mary one year, just really randomly, and that hall was absolutely beautiful. And it was honestly, even from a not a Ukrainian perspective, just as a cultural art perspective of Hamilton, it was a gem. That hall was magnificent. All of my childhood memories are bundled into that building.
When was the last time you were inside?
On Friday night. We were there. We had a community event that I helped organize. We were making paski, which is the Ukrainian Easter bread. So there was about 15 of us, and we were just sitting there making paski, and we closed up shop, and then this happened. So
you left at what time, and then what time did you find out that there was a fire?
So we left around, I believe probably 9 or 10. I can't really be sure of the time. And then we got the phone call at around 3 a.m.
How can people help?
So right now we're also, this is just day 2, so we're sort of sitting here. Eventually there may be a fundraiser, but just check on our SUM Hamilton, so CYM Hamilton website, and I will post anything that we know more. I will post on there.
Thank you so much on a day like this that you're very troubled, I'm sure. Taking the time and finding the time to talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Молодіми і світ нам відкрито, перед нами сміється земля. У житті нам дано полюбити вербовини, ліси і поля. Не стріляй голови у знемозі, бо зірок не побачиш тоді. Сміхається ніжно до тебе, та країна, що сповнена див. Там на горах поближче до неба, хтось не бачені квіти зростив. Як колята туди ми полинем, по морях поведем кораблі. І ніколи у мандрах не згинем, світ є гарний, ми молоді. Сонце вгорі, а ночами нам буде світити над землею проміння зори. Ми гуртом вирушаємо з дому і в упевненій нашій ході. Не завадить ні вітер, ні вдома, світ є гарний, ми молоді. Ми гуртом вирушаємо з дому і в упевненій нашій ході. Не завадить ні вітер, ні вдома, світ є гарний, ми молоді.
Rushnichok. The last song, Molodi Me, We Are Young. Before that, Okean Elze and Sumna Melodia, a sad song. This is Nasha Kasha, Ukrainian Almanac. We come to you every week from CHRW 94.9 FM on the campus of Western University in London, Ontario. On CHMR 93.5 FM in St. John's, Newfoundland. On CKDU 88.1 FM in Halifax. On Local 107.3 FM in St. John, New Brunswick. On CJLO 1690 AM in Montreal, on CFRC 101.9 FM in Kingston, on CFMU 93.3 FM in Hamilton, on CKMS 102.7 FM in Kitchener-Waterloo, on CKLU 96.7 FM in Sudbury, on CILU 102.7 FM in Thunder Bay, on 101.5 UMFM in Winnipeg, on CFMQ 98.1 FM in Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan, and on CIBL Civil 101.7 FM in Abbotsford, British Columbia.
Bless the Lord, O my soul. Blessed art thou, O Lord. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgives all your iniquities, who heals all your diseases. The Lord is compassionate and merciful, long-suffering and of great goodness. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Blessed art thou, O Lord.
Hello, my name is Odessa Sushko, and I'm currently the Parish Council President of St. Vladimir's Ukrainian Orthodox Cathedral in Hamilton. We have a very good and active Hromada in Hamilton. We have the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, of course, the Catholic Church, we have Korean National Federation, and we have, of course, SUM, which, as we heard on the news, their Domivka, where people gathered, had a very unfortunate incident and burned. We send our sympathy to the organization. We recall many, many times when we were there, when the entire Hamilton community met there for various celebrations, various concerts, and we had a very good working relationship in Hamilton with all of our community. So we are so sorry and regret what happened, and we are here to support, and we are here to assist in any way possible.
Can you give us a little bit of background on your involvement in Ukrainian life?
I think I grew up in a family that was always involved and busy, and I just carried on the tradition. I was, a number of years ago, local and provincial, the national president of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress. So I had the wonderful opportunity of meeting people right across Canada and seeing the wonderful work that's being done by our Ukrainian community. I also just recently finished a 6-year term as the president of the World Federation of Ukrainian Women's Organizations. That's a federation that has an interest right across the world. We had 31 national organizations as members and deal with all kinds of issues relative to the Ukrainian community, to Ukraine itself, especially in their time of need, and of course to human rights and women's issues. So I've just finished that and a few other things in the community.
How many years have you lived in Hamilton?
I've lived in Hamilton since 1954. So that's about 60 some odd years.
Can you give me a sense of what you studied and what your career path was, or what your life's mission has been?
My work that I did was equity coordinator for the Hamilton Board of Education, and I dealt with all kinds of human rights issues. I dealt with women's issues, with the policies against harassment, and so on. That followed my education in women's issues and religious studies at McMaster. So it's extremely interesting, and I have carried that interest over into my community work and to work that I have done. The World Federation that I mentioned is very active at the United Nations, where we pursue all of these interests relative to the Ukrainian community. There'd be issues with Ukraine, the community equity issues in terms of women's rights and the community in general. So it's been an amazing path, actually.
Can you just tell me a little bit about the insignia you're wearing on your left lapel?
I've been honored to be appointed as a member of the Order of Canada. I received that in 2010. It certainly is a very great honor. And I understand that the recognition was for my work with the Ukrainian community and with the Canadian community in terms of the issues that I mentioned. So I'm certainly deeply honored to be one of the members of the Order of Canada. Okay. The situation that occurred, the fire that happened, has really shocked all of us. And all I can say is we are here to support the community and the SUM community. And we regret what happened, and we are here for you.
It's really been a sad day all around. I complete this episode 2 days after the Hamilton Ukrainian Center fire. That place Ukrainians so affectionately call their Domivka. I'm recording this on the very day that 8 centuries old Notre Dame Cathedral, one of this world's greatest treasures, caught fire and burned in Paris. There is, of course, no comparison. That fire is out. Much of the structure has been spared. The enormity of the loss still to be revealed. It is in what follows that we might find comparisons. Here's what one notable wrote on Twitter, quote, "We're thinking of the people of France in this your time of grief. It's in our very nature to mourn when we see history lost, but it's also in our nature to rebuild for tomorrow as strong as we can." Signed, Barack Obama. You're listening to Evan Wish playing his own composition called Souvenirs. It's from his album Lullaby of Love. Evan grew up in Winnipeg. He now divides his time between Los Angeles and France. Prior to the last interview, you heard the St. Vladimir Ukrainian Orthodox Cathedral Choir, which I recorded with their permission during a Sunday English language service. I'm your reporter, Stefan Andrusiak. Nasha Kasha is also a podcast. You can subscribe for free at Apple iTunes and at many other podcast distributors. Partial funding for Nasha Kasha is provided by the Ukrainian Credit Union and by the Canadian Foundation of Taras Shevchenko. I'll be back in a week, God willing. До милої зустрічі за тиждень часу, дорогі слухачі.